giving, but there is a giving that is not of things. There's a giving of the heart itself. There's a giving of service, of love, of brotherhood, of every thought that makes for good. A giving open to all, however poor our personal possessions may be. It is the feeling and the thought in our hearts which reach people and stir their hearts to a better perception, a better feeling, a wider and stronger action, for all our hearts are based in the same one life. So that the sun represents this one life. The sun. So we all come from this one life. We draw all of our powers and forces from the one life. Then the real Christmas means something to the real man, which is the inner man, and it applies to the whole of man's nature. So then let us take advantage of this resurgence of the spiritual, mental, and moral force that comes with the Christmas time. So it is moral, spiritual, mental. So those three, if it works together, it not only propels us forward, but everyone and everything around us is also moved towards a progressive march in expressing itself towards a higher life. Now we will open the platform for questions and comments. Yes.
What you said just recently about this being a season of giving.
Yeah.
This is a comment, and you can respond to this. One of the things that I've seen, because I do think that consciousness is rising, is that there are people who many years ago used to give tangible gifts of the material world, lots and lots of things. But I've seen recently young mothers with younger children who are getting together with other young mothers and children, and they are doing something that's going to benefit humanity in some way. They're giving different types of gifts. They're giving a goat or a cow or something to another part of the world where they can use that goat for sustenance because of living in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeing them begin to talk to their children about thinking of others, which is coming out of oneself to think of others in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what HPD would say about consciousness rising in years to come, but I can sort of see that mirrored, this year and again last year with having a gift bazaar of all the different gifts that people could give that would be beneficial to mankind in some way.
Well, it is true, but remember, please, there has been at least 130 years since her parting, and she crushed the mentality of the Victorian age and opened the minefield for humanity, for a higher perception. And that is taking place. We can see these pockets of consciousness rising in different parts of the world, whether it be for freedom of thought, because Libya and some of the African countries, Egypt, are trying to free themselves to just obtain freedom of thought, because that is the first step in any developmental stage in a human life. If you don't have freedom of thought, then you're squashed. You cannot express your soul life at all, because it is demanded by the government as to how you should behave. There's no freedom. So, and the other pockets, this student also has observed that there is pockets of people coming together for certain causes. And Hyper International, I think, is the one that you have just mentioned. Whether I'm allowed to mention it or not, I don't know. But I think it's a worthy cause to do those kinds of charity. But what about service? Service and love and compassion is also a heart expression. Whether it is a smile or an encouraging word, that also has tremendous ability to move us, the powers that congregate around it, forward. Because it is a power, whether you see it or not, it is recorded. Everything we say is recorded, and it gathers strength, and it has its own propulsory effect. It moves things forward. So, but it is still lacking. The effort has to be by many more of us to make a change come about, because there are a lot of, in fact, 1 out of 2 of every American, 1 out of 2 is in poverty in this country. This is the United States of America, where other parts of the world look towards us, and imitate our lifestyle. Well, are we really such a good example for the rest of the world when half of us are in poverty, 2-3% are multi-billionaires or whatever, trillions of dollars is being spent for their own benefit? What about the rest of us? What happened to the distribution of wealth? HPB says Mother Nature provides for all of her children. And it is the expression of that one life. So this Mother Nature provides for all of her children. Without any difference of any sort. Just like the sunlight shines on everything, so that one life provides for all of her children on earth. What happens is, when people start taking more than what they need, then the rest who cannot fight for their own share suffer in this way. She says there isn't one soul who comes into incarnation, if given the correct opportunity to express its soul life, would not benefit humanity in some way. But because our society puts constrictions and restrictions and certain standards on our lives, this expression is lacking. That each human soul comes into rebirth for an expression of its inner life, and it is developed in some one way, particularly more than in all of the others, and it can contribute that expertise to the benefit of all, which is what is expected from each soul to do. So how do we correct it? As a society, we have to become aware of our soul life being the most important aspect of our lives, that we are spiritual beings and that we are united. There is no separation of any kind anywhere in nature, whether it is the different kingdoms or among the human kingdom itself. And the diva worlds above us, who watch and guide us and send these messianic representatives in certain seasons to show us once again how it is done, because we are so forgetful. Not only we don't remember we are souls, but we don't remember our own experiences either. Yes?
Because the souls that have been existent in previous ages and even now, who have this tendency to be forgetful, is it possible that new souls, for instance, I've heard of Indigo Children, who are now coming in and being born, who might have, who might be closer to a higher consciousness, who come with certain gifts, certain powers that may be able at a very young age to be able to impact the world and raise the consciousness and the atmosphere away from the greediness that has left us in the situation that you just named?
Well, the Indigo Children can do so much. Each human soul has to go through these progressive awakenings by its own self-induced, self-devised effort. Self-reliance is the first criteria in this philosophical path that leads to emancipation and also benefiting all of humanity at the same time. So, yes, those who come in with a consciousness or conscious awareness of what they are here to do obviously helps, and there's quite a few of them around, but each human soul must do that for itself. Yes, we're influenced by others, but until the soul acknowledges that it is a soul and not a body, and that it is here for its inner life expression, that conception cannot take place, because where do we have to go? Inward. This is an inward awakening, not external to ourselves, because all of the powers that exist in the universe also exist in us. We are an expression of the universe within ourselves. So in order to bring that into life, it requires self-energized effort. And that has to be dependent on self-reliance. That's the first criteria. And what else does it do? As we work towards understanding the philosophy, because it is the mother that gives birth to the germination of the soul, it awakens our discriminative powers, our intuitive powers. These are higher powers of the soul and the higher mind. And as we become aligned with its aim in the universe, we are expressing it in our own lives. We become aware that we're interconnected, that we cannot live for ourselves, that we have a responsibility to all of life, first to our family, then to our community, then to our nation. And when we open that to the human family, then we become a child of the universe, of the world itself. But we have also read today as to where we need to start, that whatever under karma is my duty to perform in my daily life, I need to bring sublimity and beauty into it. And that is the way. As we do small tasks that are our natural duty to all that exists, we grow in sublimity and beauty. And as we grow, we can express more of that sublimity, that beauty is in the core of each human heart. So that is a way to expand our vision and consciousness and influence in the world. But there was another way that was expressed, that that the soul itself is not partitioned into past, now, and future. It lives in the ever-present now. Time is an illusion for human beings on earth. Because of the events appearing as sequential, we think that there is a time lapse. But for the soul, the observer, the one who is present at all times, whether it be awakened consciousness, Jagrata, daytime consciousness, when we're awake, whether it is in dream consciousness, whether it is in sleep consciousness, the one is awake through all those phases. It is the perceiver of all of the levels of our consciousness, because it never sleeps. It is awake at all times. It is the knower. So we want to bring that through ourselves into the world, then we will be able to help more and more, because as we understand the problems, then we can come up with the solutions. And if a lot of us are in this same mode of expression of that light from the heart, then our influence would be greater and greater. What have we done then? We have started a golden age in this Kali Yuga of ours, because we have lived through all those ages before. We have gained tremendous amount of experience, and its expression is awaiting to come forth. But the personality. That selfishness, that self-centeredness has to give way to this conception that we are souls in evolution, all of us, and that one soul is not different than the other soul. It comes from the same source. Its expression is different because karmically we all have different baggages that we are carrying because we live our lives fitted to our own perceptive powers as they are developed at that particular stage in our lives. So as we progress and we are able to express more of that sublimity and beauty that comes from the heart, and many of us express it in this direction to benefit humanity in some way, then the golden age has started. Yes.